2019. 2. From a budget, no student should be prevented from reaching for their dreams because they cannot afford it.
A round of applause for the TSLB.
Significant amount of empathy both for the students as well as for the teachers.
And the EWK Affairs Scholarship.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nisambula Vinaka, and a very good morning to you all. Indeed, it's a very, very good morning, and I'm pleased to be in your presence here this morning. And of course, further delighted that we all have gathered here to officiate at the launch of TSLB Strategic Plan 2020 to 2024, and of course, our new logo. And I'm sure that you are equally excited as I am. Ladies and gentlemen, before I begin and say that today marks a historic day not only for the Tertiary Scholarships and Loans Board, but also for the Fijian government, the past and future tertiary vocational and tertiary education, parents and all the stakeholders in the Fijian education sector. Somewhere along the line, we all have been children. Somewhere along the line, we all have been students. I'm sure we all are parents here, and we've journeyed through childhood days to primary education or EC education, to primary education, to secondary, to tertiary. And of course, we all know that education is lifelong from the time we are born and probably from the time we end up in our graves, from the cradle to the grave. And I just want to share a few experiences I had when I grew up in one of the rural areas in the Western Division, Nandi. And it was not easy. But I think we had more fun in those days, the struggles, the challenges, the respect we had for our teachers, the value that we placed on education. I think it sort of has diminished along the way. And as stakeholders in education, as governments of the day, where education is our priority, I think it makes our work further challenging than now. I spent 23 years in a classroom teaching secondary students. And believe me, it was one of the most exciting and challenging times of my life. I've enjoyed that more than I enjoyed taking up 3 portfolios, Minister for Women and the Minister for Health and Minister of Education. Being a teacher, I think that was the most exciting and enjoyable and memorable times. And believe me, if I got a chance to go back to teaching, which I think is a very rare opportunity, but if I had to go back, I would love to go back and teach my children. Because we as educators, we as adults, we as parents, and we simply as members of our society have a big role to play when it comes to preparing the future generations of our beloved nations. So at this point in time, I'd like to put on record my appreciation for all stakeholders who partner with us, international partners, our local partners, our corporate bodies who partner with us to ensure that we progress. And of course, it has to be a progressive journey. For me, education has to be a progressive journey if we want to reach the vision that we currently have. And the Fijian government has a vision of an educated and a smart society. And how do we reach that? It's through initiatives like this. Again, you and I, if we recall how we went to school, the struggles our parents had to in paying at least for our transport, our bus fares, our books. I remember paying library fees, sports fees, exam fee, and all those fees that we had to pay. And then now, I think children and parents are very lucky that they are assisted in so many ways. So my message out there for parents and students would be to capitalize on the opportunities that the government is putting out for you. And sometimes it's said that no matter how many opportunities we put across to our people, sometimes it's abused. So those not only under the details, the scheme, but if you are on toppers, if you are receiving free education grant, it's very important that we use it very responsibly because it's taxpayers' money, and we are accountable for every dollar as a government that we give out in ensuring that we promote education in our society. I remember crossing rivers, I remember crossing cane fields, I remember walking barefoot to school. And 8 o'clock sharp, my head teacher would be there in my primary school, scared as hell. We would try to sneak in. But then when I listen to the complaints that we have regarding our children and the discipline in school, It's actually shocking and saddening as well. So again, we need to emphasize on parents that discipline begins at the house. Again, going back to teachers, being a teacher myself, like I said, I enjoyed it, but it was full of challenges. But I remember when I finished my Form 7, that time we had Form 7, it was not year 13 or year 9, stuff like that. I think we were the last lot to do the Fiji University entrance examination in 1988. And when I finished Form 7 in 1989, I didn't know what to do. Brought up and raised by a single mother, 5 children. Education was a priority, but what do we do with no money? How do we pay for university fees? And there's something that still bugs me today, but when we went for interviews back then, like I was in Form 7 and I applied for Lotoka Teachers College. I always wanted to be a teacher. We were interviewed vigorously, a couple of rounds of interviews. I don't know where that has gone. How do we select students now to be trained as doctors? How do we select students to be trained as teachers and nurses? I think we need to bring it back. And to the tertiary representatives, tertiary institution representatives here, there's something I'd like to put on the floor for you. How do we get the best student? How do we know that the child is passionate about the job? I remember my colleagues would cry because they were not successful in the interviews. We would have sleepless nights waiting for the list to come out. We went to Advanced College, Fiji College of Advanced Education. I remember my name was on the reserve list. And then we would have sleepless nights. How do we pursue our career? But look at what's happening now. We're making things so easy, and I think we've taken that responsibility away from the generation today. So to the teacher training institutions, let's produce quality graduates. How do we produce quality graduates? Is we get the best that's out there. Do we base it on marks? Do we base it on character? Do we have this set of interview questions that we grill and see whether that person actually wants to be a teacher, wants to be a doctor, wants to be a nurse, wants to be an architect, wants to be an engineer, that passion. So teachers out in primary school and secondary schools, they are the ones who are supposed to lay the seeds of passion. And if as teachers we don't do justice in the secondary and the primary sections, then again what we get in the tertiary institutions is a product of what teachers have produced in the secondary education. Again, coming back to teachers, again, I'd like to put my hats off to all the teachers who continue to struggle daily in trying to educate the children. I talked about discipline. I talked about the changes that we see in our children these days. It's not easy. But again, as educators, we're always under criticism. Maybe no matter how much we do, it'll never be enough. It'll never be enough for the parents. It may never be enough for the societal expectations, but we've got to try. And to everybody present here in this room, I know you have a role to play, a very big role to play in ensuring that we lead Fiji towards, we lead our country towards a smarter Fiji. So that was it. So like I said, I didn't know what to do when I was in Form 7. I didn't know what to do. There's no scholarships available. You would know how scholarships were given at that time. So basically you ended up working, doing your part-time jobs and earning some money and doing summer classes. So from 1989, when I finished Form 7, it took me 2006 to complete my degree. So you had to earn and then pay for one unit, then one unit, then you wait for a PSC scholarship. I started teaching. I have the temporary letter of appointment in my file today. It's yellowed a bit, but I started on a scale of $5,304 in 1990 as a temporary teacher. And then it went up to 6,000 something, then finally it went to 7,500. Then I finished my diploma, it went to 9,000. Then we had that SSP salary scale, progression scale, it went to 12,000. I finished my degree, Api is there, Apineri is there, my classmate from FCAE. And then you finish, and then you graduate, and you wait for that 16,000 salary. Look at the salary we're giving our teachers. Look at the salary that we get our graduates or our lecturers and our professors. It's gone up. So teaching is actually a very, I would say, lucrative, career as well. But again, that passion has to be there. So the struggles are still there, but I can say for a fact that teachers today, primary, EC, and secondary school teachers today are in a far better position than what we were in the 90s. And I'd like us to appreciate and record the fact that they are paid much higher. Again, when I resigned in 2014, I was an acting vice principal. I resigned at a 28,000 scale, acting vice principal. If you look at the salary of vice principal, I think HODs earn more now. And that is because the government has recognized and realized the worth of teachers. I know there's always this hue and cry about pay increases, working conditions, but we are far better off where we were when I was a teacher. And I'd like to put that on record. We need to appreciate that. Of course, there's a long way to go, and progressively we'll reach there. So that's, I think, I said more than enough, but just wanted you to know that sometimes it's very difficult to understand teachers' roles, okay? The expectations of parents and the criticism that we get. But we've got to take this out to the public, take it out to the parents, that being a teacher is not easy. So parental responsibility, governmental responsibility, stakeholder engagement, and of course, discipline, etc. within our children, it's something that needs to go together. So all the stakeholders present here, you cannot work in isolation. TSLB cannot work in isolation. Our NGO partners cannot work in isolation. The faith-based organizations cannot work in isolation. Our tertiary institutions cannot work in isolation. But I think to some extent we are doing that. So I urge both or 3 or 4 teacher training institutions, the 5 we have, and all the technical colleges that we have, you've got to sit on a table and thresh things out and see how do we go forward in quality. I don't believe in quantity. I definitely don't believe in quantity, but I think we are moving towards quantity. If you look at the number of graduates that are coming out and you look at the needs of the Fijian workforce, I think it doesn't match. So we at the Ministry of Education are going to do a workforce planning exercise for our ministry to see, okay, in the next 5 years we need science teachers. We need, at the moment I've been told we are shortage of 25 plus science teachers, maths teachers, industrial arts teachers. We have a lot of English and economics and accounting teachers. So the tertiary institutions, you need to be very careful when you enroll graduates, because the government is not the sole employer. You've got to understand that. Our graduates should always be able to find jobs in other corporate sectors as well. They need to be self-employed. So the graduates that are coming out, I mean, sometimes we are pressured to take in everybody. I receive emails from graduates who haven't received jobs since last year. So it's our responsibility as training institutions, and it's our responsibility as employers to tell our graduates, these are the jobs that are available. And we found out that there's a lot of emphasis on STEM subjects now. How do we encourage our children to take this up? Again, the role of teachers comes in. Most parents want their children to become this and that. But we need to look at what the country needs. We need to look at what we produce. Are we producing for Fiji? Are we producing for the Pacific? Or are we producing graduates for the global market? I think we need to look at that as well. Because we may not be able to absorb every graduate that comes out of the training institutions. So that's what you as stakeholders need to do. So ladies and gentlemen, coming back to this morning, the unveiling of our new logo and the launching of the first ever strategic plan by TSLB is a testimony of the progress and the appreciation by all Fijians of the new Fijian government schemes, which was announced in 2014, the National Budget Day by Honorable Prime Minister. And of course, the plan we will witness today defines the direction that TSLB will take in the next 5 years. Prior to 2014, I need to remind you that scholarships were based on ethnicity and not on the principles of merit and equity. For our government, we believe in merit and equity. That's why I said merit, equity, and quality. You might be the most meritorious students in your institution, but how do we define that with quality? We're looking at quality as well. So ladies and gentlemen, our government believes in equal treatment of all Fijians, irrespective of your ethnicity, irrespective of social origin, irrespective of gender identity, and irrespective of expression, economic, social, or health status, disability, age, religion, conscience, to replace the ethnicity-based scholarships. With the humble beginning from Suva House, late December 2013, the Tertiary Scholarships and Loans Board is fully operational at its present location under the guidance of its Board of Governors. Ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture, I think it's only right that you allow me to pay my respect to the former chair of TSLB, my friend. I would say he was a guide and a mentor to me, late Mr. Dicton Sito. And Mr. Sito took up the reins of TSLB chair during the most difficult times, and his immense contributions cannot go unrecognized. I thank him sincerely for all the good work that he has done during his tenure as the TSLB chair. It's rather unfortunate that he is not here to celebrate this historic moment, but I'm sure that he's smiling in heaven, seeing the culmination of his hard work. On this note, I'd also like to thank and congratulate his beloved wife, Mrs. Jenny Sito, for being awarded Officer of the Order of Fiji Medal by His Excellency, the President. And congratulations, Mrs. Sito. Well done. Ladies and gentlemen, in 2014, 5,940 students were assisted by TSLB with a budgetary allocation of 78,920,000 under the following Fijian government schemes. That included the National Topper Scheme, the Scholarship Scheme for existing students, the Tertiary Education Loan Schemes for new students, Tertiary Education Loan Schemes for existing tertiary students, Accommodation Support Scheme, and Donor-Funded Overseas Scheme. Today, the Fijian government has financially committed to the tertiary vocational and technical education under the various schemes, again administered by TSLB, and has increased its budgetary allocation to 181,813,000 as announced in the 2019 and 2020 budget. Our government's current priority areas are tourism, engineering, medicine and health, agriculture, fisheries and forest, technology, environment, marine science, land town planning, commerce, teaching, training, primary counseling, special and inclusive education. I think if I talk for the Minister of Education, we really need to have more counselors, and that's an issue for us. And of course, inclusive education, because we want inclusive education in all our schools, and with that, we need to include children with disabilities in the curriculum. The commerce student, I recommend would consider human resources management, industrial relations, forensic accounting, tourism, surveying, climate change, project planning and management, property valuation, urban and regional planning, rather than accounting and economics, which seems to top the preference list. Science students, I recommend consider biomedical engineering, dermatology, aquaculture, fish technology, climate change, organic farming, rather than medical studies. I think in time to come we'll have too many doctors, we'll have too many lawyers, and we'll have too many teachers. So let's guide our children. Let's guide our children to go for those career paths where you and I both know a job is available for them in future. In teaching, again, let's come back to teaching. We need teachers that specialize in primary teaching, counseling, maths, physics, special and inclusive education, industrial arts, and computer studies. So for those students who are planning to enroll into teacher training institutions, I would urge that they look at their subject choices and seek some guidance from the career section. And of course, it's our responsibilities to encourage students to take up careers that have very high demand occupation opportunities. To date, ladies and gentlemen, the TSLB scheme has assisted 38,733 students. 15,400 students have graduated, while 23,332 are our active students. And I wish them well. The annual average new intake is 8,000 students, which is, I think, is very commendable and very high. And ladies and gentlemen, this is unprecedented since our independence, and we hope to build onto this success to ensure that we have a well-qualified and a truly knowledge-based society. We want TELS to be self-sustaining with accelerated repayment initiatives. We have major discounts for students available upon repayment of their loans. Students can save 10%, 25%, or even 50% off from the principal amount of their loan. As graduates put back money into the system more quickly, TELS will have more funds freed up to continue to grow and offer opportunities to many, many more Fijians. For example, if you're a student, if you're a new graduate and a student debt of less than 20,000, and if you settle 50% of the loan balance in less than 2 years, you will be entitled to a discount of 50%. That basically means you only pay $10,000, and that is an opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, again, today marks an iconic moment for TSLB, which indicates a time for bold changes as we unveil the new logo and launch the first ever strategic plan. This management and planning tool, the TSLB Strategic 2020-24, aims to directly tackle the issues related to access to equal opportunities for relevant and quality tertiary technical and vocational education, use of technology as an enabler of TSLB business processes, modernization and providing an all-inclusive service to all Fijians, the transformation of discriminatory social norms and stereotypes, and the strengthening and support of institutions so that TSLB can deliver quality for both men and women. We are already seeing the momentum building for change in these structural aspects. The changes that we see are very encouraging, notwithstanding the challenges we face. Our strategic plan articulates better than ever before how TSLB mandate to funding Fijians' future, and coordination and operational activities can be implemented for greater impact. It also lays down the strategic direction that TSLB will undertake for the next 5 years, with an overall objective of building a smarter and knowledge base for all. The strategic plan lists the 5 outcomes, 5 strategic goals, and I believe 19 measurable outputs for the next 5 years. These indicators will enhance the quality of customer service and empower all Fijians in an environmentally sustainable manner. I note the TSLB value statement has listed down principles such as innovation, environment sustainability, and fiscal responsibility. It is very rare to find that such innovative values, and I congratulate the board, management, and the staff for developing such a forward-looking and modern ethics that is truly reflective of our government's priorities. I'm told that later in the program we will be viewing a short video and certainly looking forward to the presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe the new logo will give a new look reflective of what TSLB stands for and promoting the salient features of the 2013 Constitution. The vision, mission, and value statements are well captured in the logo and are reflective of modern scholarship and loans authority of the Fijian government. The new logo showcases the progressive realization of a Fijian childhood dream of quality tertiary vocational and tertiary technical education. It reflects the principles of access and equity for all the 15 provinces of Fiji and symbolizes success, brighter and smarter future for all. The new logo is also reflective of our Honourable Prime Minister's statement in his 2013 budget address, and I quote, "My government believes that no young person should be left behind, even at tertiary level. No student should be prevented from far-reaching for their dreams because they cannot afford it." And I'm sure we all can echo in that sentiment, because somewhere along the line we would have been deprived of an opportunity or a situation because we were not rich to fund our own education. So because our parents were not that rich, or simply we were not born a rich kid. So the Prime Minister's vision is very much incorporated in the strategic plan and the new logo. And ladies and gentlemen, I wish to state here that I just love our Prime Minister's vision and the vision that he has for an educated Fiji and the way his government is leading the change. And I think we all need to be part of that vision. I think we all need to be part of the passion that our leader has in order to push forward. So ladies and gentlemen, finally the strategic plan and the new logo we are launching today is based on 5 key pillars, and each key pillar has spelled out strategies that will facilitate the transformation of lives of our Fijians and steer our country towards a digital economy as envisioned by our government. As I conclude, I wish to thank the Board of Directors, management and staff of TSLB, Ms. Wanda Paul from Minister of Civil Service, who facilitated the development of this plan. I also like to thank my Permanent Secretary for the Ministry's contributions in this. And I call on every Fijian to work together with TSLB and the Fijian government to play their part in ensuring that we deliver on this plan. I now, ladies and gentlemen, before I officially declare the launch of the TSLB Strategic Plan 2020-2024 and our new logo, I'd like to wish you all, and I'd like to wish all our students who are on holiday a safe holiday. I'd like to wish one and all here a very, very Merry Christmas. I sort of started dressing up like Father Christmas. I didn't know blue was the color of the day. I'm already in the festive mood. So I'd like to wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas, and let's pray and hope for a blessed 2020. And come 2020, we look forward to working with you with the same vigor, the same energy in ensuring that we realize the dreams of the government. We work together in ensuring that the dreams of our children are fulfilled, and we have a role to play. So thank you for having me here, and I'd like to, once again, wish you all the very best for the rest of the program, and God bless us all. Thank you.